flies already. Good evening everybody, or morning, good afternoon, whenever it is you're watching this back. I decided to take myself out and get some fresh air this evening and do my live. You right, Joe? And do my live instead of sitting in my office, because it's just such a beautiful evening. I thought I might as well get out. There'll be a little bit of wind noise, but we'll just get over that, be fine. How are you, Joe? Haven't seen you for a while, mate. I'm a little bit early. So I forgot to mention, actually, for those of you watching this later on, which I know most of you do, I think we normally get around 10-15 people on the live, and then later in the week 100 to 200 people watch it. So it's funny how it works, that most people watch it later on in the week. If you are, then just skip forward 2 or 3 minutes and the good stuff will start. Hiya Denise, good evening, hope you're well. Sitting here enjoying the last of the summer sun, or the summer evening sun. It's absolutely beautiful. How are you? Just watching a man and his dog over there. How much people love their dogs, it's so cool. It's like, I just love how endless, and it's funny, isn't it, how God is dog spelled backwards. How endlessly loving dogs are, no matter what. They just always love their owners. So we'll just wait another minute or so, and then we'll get stuck in. I know a few people have messaged me to say they can't do tonight, but you needn't message me, guys, it's fine. You can watch it whenever you like. Oh yeah, of course, it's lovely down there, isn't it? We went down there to Sandy Balls. King Henry VIII named it that, apparently. We really enjoyed it down there. It was really, really nice. It's a beautiful part of the country. I love all the wild ponies and stuff. It's well cool. So I did actually log in a little bit early. I don't normally log in this early. So peaceful here tonight. Time. Yeah, we'll make a start, I think. Otherwise we'll be sitting here. I'll be sitting here until it's dark, and you guys won't be able to see me. So first off, I just want to acknowledge you all, because it was on Wednesday. I went to a yoga class near me. It's a really cool yoga class, and it's like 2 hours long. You know, it's a proper yoga class, and in that time you probably do about 4 or 5 different kind of poses. So it's really slow, relaxed, and the teacher makes you do it perfectly, like everything's done perfectly. And I was just relaxing doing that, and I felt this kind of feeling of gratitude for you all for showing up on Sundays and watching in the week. Hello Valerie, we haven't started yet, you're alright. And I was just lying there doing my yoga, and it just made me realise, you know, how grateful I am. And not just grateful, actually, that's not really the word, but how much I want to honour you all for keep showing up on Sunday, and every single one of you putting some time into yourself, you know, and putting that work into yourself to make things better, to change things, to show yourself that love. And I want to honour that, because, I mean, it's my life work, right? It's going to be my life's work. Hello Jem, it's lovely to see you one. I've been loving some of your posts recently. And yeah, look, this is where I am, guys. I'll just quickly see if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to do this, actually. There you go. So I'm looking out to sea. This is basically I'd say it's my back garden. It's not quite my back garden, but if we go out the front of my house, literally, it's just there. It's absolutely wonderful, and I come up here some evenings and chill out. We're potty training with Albert at the moment, so I feel like I needed a bit of a break tonight. And so I was lying there in yoga and just relaxing, and I apologise for the wind noise, guys. I've got my earphones in, but it's just one of those things. Hiya Julie, it's lovely to see you on. And yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge you guys and say, you know, I love you. I'm so grateful for you showing up, but just anyway, You know, how often we don't say that to people, that we really truly acknowledge and love them for no reason other than just it's true. And I just really felt the urge to do that, and it's one of the 5 things on my list. I said, it was quite funny because I was writing this list earlier, and I know I said 3 things, right? And this is so typical of how our brains work. I said 3 things. I'm going to share with you 3 things. What 3 insights? And that's what my client asked me. What 3 things would you share with the world? And I was sitting there on the loo, and I was talking to myself. I was thinking, oh God, I've got to stick to 3. I can't have. I've got like 5, 6. How can I do 3? And I was like, hang on a minute. Who's making up the rules? Like, I've said 3, who gives a shit? Why don't I just do more than 3? So I've kind of got like 5. So it is what it is. And sitting on the loo not planning is not one of them, because that's where I do a lot of my planning, to be fair. Sorry to say, I don't do my coaching from there. That would be a bit much, but I do a lot of my planning from there. And I hope you guys can all hear me okay. Like I said, I've got my earphones in. They're pretty good at cancelling out wind, but yeah, it just is what it is. So number 1, you know, this is something that if I was in front of the world, and this is one of the questions I ask my clients very often when we're talking about passion and what it is, that the message that they want to use to create what it is they're trying to create. And increasingly I'm working with a lot of coaches to help them build a coaching practice, kind of what I'm tending to specialise in. And I ask them, you know, if you had all 7.5 billion people in front of you in the world, all 7.5 billion were sitting there in front of you, and not just listening, but they were listening to such an extent that what you say would really land, what would you say? And this is something that my client threw back at me. He said, well, what would you say? And number 1 is to know that we're responsible, you know that we're responsible. And this is responsibility without blame. This is responsibility without blame, because I remember when I was my most anxious, and this is a story I've actually never shared. I've never shared this story before, I don't think, especially in this group, but I'm going to share it tonight. It's going back to when I was about 21 and I just finished university. I used to smoke a lot of drugs, a lot of weed, and I used to sell a bit as well. Just being honest with you guys. I know you wouldn't think it. And I remember my mum and dad had just sold the family home, and at the time I never really thought that was going to be a big deal, but obviously at the time I wasn't in this inside out understanding. It was very much they were selling the home, and I went into mass panic, had panic attacks, and I had panic attacks for probably on and off for about 3 or 4 years, like proper. At one point I remember the safest place in my house at the time, my mum and dad's house, was the loft, because it was just out the way, it was secluded, no one could find me, no one could see me. So I used to literally go off and hide there for hours, sometimes a couple of days, I'd just go off and hide. It's just because of the severe panic. And I think that back then, if someone said this is your responsibility, that would have made things worse for me, because I would have misunderstood it. So that's why I'm saying this: responsibility without blame. All right. And what I mean is, you have it in you. And this is what I would say to this 7 billion people. You have it in you to create the change, to create whatever it is that you want, to be whatever it is you want to be. And I'm going to go on a little bit further with this one as well, is that the key to that for me, and it's something that I shared with you guys in the week when I said I love you, is to find what love really means for yourself. We all love ourselves. We just don't know that. We are love, but we just don't experience it because we're so sort of up here all the time in our minds and our heads, looking for answers, looking out there for the next thing. This will make me happy, that will make me happy, this is when I've got that, when I look like this, that's going to make me happy. We're always out there just giving away our responsibility. It's only ever this moment. If we can't understand love in this moment, then we'll constantly be chasing. And that's what I was. I was so scared. I was so scared some of those days, man. And that's kind of where my panic and stress really started. Yeah, just remember the fear. It was brutal. Hello, Kim. It's lovely to see you all. So that's kind of number 1 for me, is responsibility, no fault, no blame. No fault, no blame. Number 2, this is a pretty cool one actually. This is something that I picked up years ago from another coach, but he called it the therefore. do you live in the not yet? And an example of that's for me at the moment, I'm in a bit of a transition period with my business. I'm always going to have this group because this is my passion. This is the sharing and just community sort of stuff. That's my passion, one of my passions. But my other passion is helping coaches create coaching practices, because I love coaching. I'm in love with coaching. It's my life work, and like I said, it will be forever. And there are so many people out there who could be incredible coaches, but their mindset's not in the right place, or they don't believe they can do it, or they think they need to be a certain way, or whatever, all that bullshit. And it's been quite scary lately, because I've been literally putting myself out there as this kind of expert in coaching and how to create coaching practices, and I've got some apprentices now, some of which are in this group. And it's going really well, and I just love it so much, so much. But my mind has been living in the not yet. It's been living in the minute I start thinking about that and start doing some planning and making some steps towards it, like my new Facebook group for coaches and all this other stuff, my mind goes straight to, oh my God, what if it's not well received? What if there's better than me? What if I fuck this up and it's going to be embarrassing, and people are just going to think, what the hell do you think you are? And it just, my whole existence in the last couple of weeks has been in that place, in the not yet. And I completely missed the now, and that's affected my time with Albert. I mean, there's nothing more precious than that. There's not. I'd rather quit coaching and go and, I don't know, do something else that allows me to spend time with Albert than for that to happen. So don't live in the not yet. Live in the now, or just catch yourself when you do that. Right? So just be aware of that. We're going to do it. All right, we're going to do it. It doesn't matter how aware you are, you're going to do it. Every human being does it, right? Even these monks that go and live on mountains, right? I'm sure they do it too, thinking about the next bowl of rice. Right? Number 3 is, I remember, this is a really potent one for me, and I'm sure it will be for you guys too, when you're feeling really vulnerable and emotional. And it's really nice for me to talk about this stuff, because like I said to you in that message to you guys, this last few years has been the first time in my life where I can actually feel like I'm starting to be me, because there was no way on earth I would have talked about this stuff when I was younger. There's no way I would have had the, I say courage, it's got nothing to do with courage, completely opposite, respect enough for myself to talk about this stuff, and kind of just love for myself to talk about this stuff. And I think this is why it affected me so much, because when I was going through the worst of it, not the panic attacks when I was younger, but as I got older, the infertility and that sort of stuff. And I remember this coach was working with, she's just a wonderful woman. I used to go to her house, and she had like these fur rugs, and I'm sorry if you're vegan, but there were these beautiful fur rugs, and just this, they always had a fire going and this incense, and it was just amazing. And she just said to me, when I was at my worst, she was like, "You're okay. You're okay. You're always okay. You might not think it, but you're okay." And I just remember that being really powerful, because I spent my whole life thinking I'm not okay. I need to be different. I need to be better. I need to be fertile. I need to be a better husband. I need to give my wife kids. I need to be a better son. I need to, all this shit, man. It's okay to be. It's like you're okay. It's okay to not be okay. And do you know what the best thing about it is that I've realised the most humbling, peace-bringing thing I've realised is that it's okay to be ordinary. Like, just do your best to be as ordinary as possible. And what I've started to realise is that you start to experience an extraordinary existence, because you let go of all attachment to be better or to need anything, and you live more presently, and the true self, the universal self, starts to come to fruition. You start to realise that you're way more than you can think you are. You're way more than you can think you are, and I want that to land. I'm speaking to 7 billion people, guys. You're part of that. You're more than you can ever think you are. That my life's just changed, and not even dramatically. Dramatically. And you know, it's one of those words where you say it enough and it starts to not make sense. So, dramatically. Bloody hell. Anyway, I can say it safely to you guys, right? So, just live your life. Just be ordinary and live your life. You know? And it's just, for me, that's a special feeling. It comes back to what love really means. Love doesn't have expectation. It certainly doesn't need to fulfill itself. It already is. And that is what we are. Just a solid reminder to you guys to remember that. I spent most of my life trying to be someone I'm not. Up until I was probably nearly 30, man. I'm nearly 36 now, so probably nearly 30. You know, I spent my whole life in running my business, buying cars, splashing cash. It's like you wouldn't recognise me. Except the cars bit. And I was trying to be someone I'm not. You know, trying to be more special, trying to be more wealthy, trying to be... There's anything wrong with that, but there is something wrong with that at the expense of the true self, I think. That's not okay. Certainly a solid reminder when I'm working with my clients and some of them are earning mega money, it's to bring them back down to earth sometimes. Get that grounding. Otherwise, again, you live in the not now, right? You live in the not yet. So yeah, always tried to be someone I'm not until I realised that I was already okay. Who else can I be? Like, literally, who else am I going to try and be? There's no one else to be apart from me. The funny thing is, I'm on my phone. I don't actually have a counter, so I don't know how long I've been live for, so you're just going to have to just listen and log out if you get bored. Kind of enjoying this one tonight. It's nice to be outside. So I'd say this number 4, but it's number 5 really, because I combine number 1 and number 5 with love and responsibility. But number 4 is actually been, I say recent, it's been the last couple of years. I've been really doing a lot of work on, I don't often bring this into my coaching, and I talk with you guys about it, is that we're not the thinker. I would love all 7.5 billion people in this world to know that they are not the thinker, they are the experience of the thought. And the revolution behind that is that if we think with a thought that we have, or we think we're creating these thoughts deliberately, then there's some sort of blame or there's some sort of responsibility, if there's something we must do with this thought, then we're going to live our whole lives in that illusion, and it's just going to be, we'll just live in the not yet, you know, just constantly in the future or in the past, right? It's so stressful. It's no wonder we're so stressed. I'd love everyone to know that they're not the thinker. Like, I don't know what the time is now, guys. Say it's like, I don't know, 10 to 8, right? At 8 o'clock on the dot, what thought are you going to have? What thoughts are you going to have? If any of you can tell me, please do. But as far as I'm aware, we're never ever the thinker. We're not the thinker. Unless we're using our conscious thought to kind of solve a problem or just, you know, that's different. Talking about those thoughts that make you feel that anxiety, that stress, that sort of stuff, right? We're not the thinker, we're the experience of thought. We don't need to do, as far as I'm aware, we don't need to do anything with that. We're just in the experience. Right? The more we create the awareness around that, the more things change, the more things shift. But not because they should or they need to, but just because they do. That's my experience of it. So know that you're not the thinker. Imagine what life would look like for you. And this was the game changer for me. Is if I didn't have to take responsibility for my thoughts anymore. If someone had said that to me when I was going through, like I said to you guys millions of times before, I almost left Sarah, my wife. I'm thinking about that now. I nearly left her because so she could go and find a guy that could have kids. I mean, we did end up having a kid as well. Imagine that, right? One day I found out I could have done. You know, thinking I wasn't good enough. You know, that I'm not a real man. I mean, God, man, imagine Sam. Like, even now, it's like, oh, I feel really sorry for my past self, right? I was every bit of the man. And all those horrible things I used to say about myself. And that wasn't me. That was just conditioned thought. It was just thought that I'd learned that was just running in the background. It wasn't true. And if someone had said to me, Sam, you don't have to be responsible for those thoughts. You don't have to be responsible for those. They're not. You're okay. You're doing fine. You don't need to be responsible. I mean, what a relief, right? What an absolute relief that would have been. So for those of you that don't know, I'm just kind of sitting out here. This is where I generally come up with Albert, and we'll have a little kick around before bed. You can see the sea down there, a couple of flies up here. It's absolutely beautiful tonight. And if you kind of just walk off up there, there's the South Downs. It's just absolutely gorgeous here. We love it. Yeah, that's kind of it from me really, unless everyone has any questions. I liked Lisa asked a question, you know, is it okay to keep learning and keep reading and keep researching? And I like to say that it's okay to do that with absolute vigour. Like, whip it all out, man, and just go for it. I mean, you probably won't hear a lot of the more enlightened people say that, whip it out, but you know what, screw it. I just say whip it out and go for it. Just be aware that you're doing it through curiosity and adventure and not to improve yourself. Personal development doesn't exist. I used to think it did, but the way I see things now, I can't see that it does, because there's nothing to develop. You're already fully developed, you're already fully enlightened. But thinking tells us otherwise. Thinking tells us we have need. And then when we realise we're not the thinker, then how can it possibly be that we can need developing? It just doesn't make sense to me anymore. Gemma, this is the Thai. So basically it's behind, where to describe it? It's just the other side of Saltbean, basically, right up on the hills, near Peacehaven, in between Peacehaven and Saltbean, along the cliffs there. And this is just my local park, and just up there you've got the Thai. It's absolutely beautiful. If ever you want to come up and have a coffee, I'm happy to have a walk with you and show you. It's beautiful. So yeah, that's kind of it really, guys. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. We've kind of gone through quite a bit. Most business mentors will be screaming at me saying, Sam, you're giving away too much. But do you know, one thing I have noticed is now I'm solely, kind of really, not solely, that's not true, because there will be people in this group who will at some point work with me, and I'll work with them on a one-to-one basis. That's, you know, part of the reason I do this. It gives people the opportunity, and gives me the opportunity to speak to those people in honesty. I mean, that's part of the reason. But one of my passions is working with other coaches from coming out of corporate jobs, or starting a coaching practice from the very beginning, or coaches that are struggling to get themselves out there and to create clients and to make impact in the world. That's what I'm really passionate about. And now I've made that choice, it's amazing how, you know what, it doesn't take the pressure off, but it just kind of feels as though this group is just going to be just no boundaries around how much I'm going to share and give. And I do believe in investment in yourself. I do believe in that. So, you know, there's a limit to what I'll give away for free in terms of coaching and courses. Of course there is. But in terms of these lives and in between, like, I just hope it's a resource that people really want to use and will keep using. And if there's anyone that you want to invite in, then please do, guys. You're very welcome to. So yeah, that's it from me, team. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've got something out of it. Rich. So guys, I don't know if any of you have heard of Mr. Rich Waterman, but he is one of Tony Robbins' master trainers and one of the most incredible men that I've ever met. And he is one of my coaches. Although really, I think I coach him, to be honest. I think that's more the case, isn't it, Rich? But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Again, lots of love to you all. Thank you all so much for investing the time in yourself, and I'm always here if you have any questions or if there's anything you ever want. Have a great